So it depends on your budget, how much you're gonna plug in when it comes to audiences. You gotta keep that in mind. You're not gonna be able to get really particular about audiences if your budget is not a big one.
By the way, this is the new look of Facebook. Once you open the Facebook page, previously the menu bar would actually be on the top. With the new Facebook changes, it's actually now on the left side. So it's now going to be a sidebar for options. You can still revert to the original Facebook page format by clicking the switch now. It will revert for 48 hours, and then it will go back to the new format that Facebook has. So once you are on the Facebook page insights, there will be a section here that says posts. Click on that, and you will be redirected to this section where it will display or show all the posts that you had on your Facebook page. This is actually a highly important section or area that you should look at, especially when you are constantly doing organic postings on your Facebook page or social media profiles, since this will show the content that actually has the most organic engagement. Then you can further create or push for those content that are getting some organic traction, so you can then reach more people, build bigger buckets of audiences that you can retarget down the line. So going through the list, here is a section that you have to first look at. These are the organic reach. It's going to be divided into two sections, organic and paid. Most of the time, if you're doing a lot of organic content, you'll definitely see the difference with the organic reach or engagement for each of the posts. The icons here are going to be shown depending on what creative you are using. These sections are going to be images. This is going to be for video, and this is going to be for a post that has a URL in it. So what you're going to select are the contents that has a video on it, because we're going to use or launch a video view campaign using ABO or ad set budget optimization, targeting our called audience. So by this time, you are building out your audience or buckets to retarget down the line. So you have 3 ad or posts or organic posts that you can select, which based on the data that you currently have are or has been gaining a lot of organic engagement for the past weeks or days. So with those in mind, for example, we are going to use these video that has 22.7K reach. So simply click on the video or the title of the video, and you can copy the video ID and use that under the ad level. I'm going to show you afterwards as for your video view campaign. So let me go ahead and switch to the next screen so we can start creating the ABO video view campaign. So start with go to your ad manager, select the campaign objective that you have. You can use any of the campaign objectives on the top of the funnel. Can be video view campaign, brand awareness, traffic or reach, engagement campaign. Mostly top of the funnel campaigns, especially when you are targeting called audiences, would be for ad set budget optimization. So Facebook then will spend all of the budget that you have allocated per audience or ad set, so you can get the results or the data that you wanted to actually get afterwards. So we're going to start with a video view campaign. And one quick note, as Manuel covered on the slides earlier, when setting up your CBO campaign, start with 3 to 4 audiences that are similar in type and sizes. The reason being is Facebook tends to spend more of the budget or most of the budget for audiences that are bigger in size. So the bigger the size, the faster Facebook will spend the budget. So if you are testing audiences out under an ABO campaign, it would be ideal if you have those audiences closely similar to audience sizes, for example, around 1 to 2 million audience size. This is explained on the Facebook Masters course under Module 6. So audience sizes for your campaigns. And let's start with our campaign name. So this is going to be ABO, video views, and we're not going to toggle on the campaign budget optimization on this scenario. And we're going to manually assign budget for each of the audiences. So first audience we're going to target is, it can be a lookalike audience or specific interests. And quick note, we've mentioned this on the earlier coachings as well. Make sure to disable or uncheck or do not use the detailed targeting expansion. So first audience is going to be health and wellness. Let's see. And that's going to be under the, oops, I actually selected fitness and wellness. Now, since our desired audience is, or we're currently testing out the audiences, also change, by the way, the location your ads are going to be targeted. And since since we are testing out the audiences, we're going to use or break down the audience criteria by age and gender. So let's start with ages from 35 or 30 to 40 as our selected audience bracket. And we can also change the gender to women. Then we can test out on a different ad set, 41 to 50, women, same interest, 51 to 60 women, same interest, and then 61 to 65 plus women, same interest. That way you can learn or get data on which demographics is actually giving you best results.
John, let me just say something very quickly. You know, there's one thing to note. I know that all of you guys are at different levels in your business journey. Some of you guys have a $10 a day budget. Some of you guys have $1,000 a day budget. Some of you guys have a bigger budget than that. I mean, it depends on your journey. But whatever level you're at, there are going to be differences on how do you approach this. Because for example, if you are gonna do a CBO campaign and you have a $10 a day budget, that is absolutely a problem, because Facebook is not gonna have the ability to just get enough data so they can get you results. So if you have a $5, $10 a day budget, the less budget, the less audiences that you're gonna be able to test out. If you have a bigger budget, let's say that you have $500 a day budget, well, you could easily with those $500, you can plug in 15 audiences on an ABO, top of the funnel campaign. So you can get a lot of data, and you can say to Facebook, I want you to spend $15 on this one, $20 on this one, and so on, and then get a lot of data. And then once you get a lot of that data and you spend $500 a day for a few days, maybe get $2,000 to $3,000 of ad spent in that ABO, you come back 4 or 5 days later with a lot of money spent, a few $1,000s. You look at the results that you have, and then you grab those 4 to 5 best performing audiences out of the 15, and then you create a brand new campaign from scratch for middle of the funnel or bottom of the funnel campaigns with CBO now, with another budget, let's say $500 or $250 or whatever, and you let Facebook spend the money wisely. So it depends on your budget, how much you're gonna plug in when it comes to audiences. You gotta keep that in mind. You're not gonna be able to get really particular about audiences if your budget is not a big one. What's a big budget? It really is it's an arbitrary view depending on you, but I would say that anything above $50 a day is gonna give you enough to be able to test things out. You know, you got $50 a day, you can plug in 5, 6 audiences in there, 7 audiences on an ABO. If you have $100 a day, you could probably do up to 10. I mean, you have to give Facebook at least $5, $10 per audience on an ABO to give you data a day, to give you enough data over a week or so of conversions before you can actually do something more serious on a CBO campaign. But that gives you an idea as to how you want to operate this. And it has a lot to do with your individual budget, which is something that only you can decide on your end.
Going back to our steps, I already had renamed the ad set that we're creating. Also, since the earlier audience we actually selected from age 30 to 40 women under the health and wellness or interest is actually or has an audience reach of 7.8 million. I wanted to narrow it down to less than 2 million. So what you normally do is find or before you start any campaign or any paid ads as well, is you do an audience research. So part of the audience research that I've got is I can use since it's for natural slim, I can narrow down the audience that I have selected with the weight loss or fitness and wellness interest. That way, when I selected the narrow down feature, it will immediately or significantly change my audience potential reach from 7.8 million down to 1.1 million, which is between or within the desired audience sizes that I wanted to go after. So my audiences now moving forward for the other ad sets would be interests or people that are interested in health and wellness, and also that are interested on weight loss under the fitness and wellness. The only difference then with the ad sets would be the age bracket. I'm going to push for 30 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60, and so on and so forth. Since it's a video view campaign, I also change the section where when you get charged, normally it automatically selects impressions, but for video view campaign, since I'm optimizing the campaign for through plays, I also selected to get charged per through play instead of impressions. So going to the next step of the campaign creation for ABO is your ad level. As we covered earlier, by this time you should have already been posting content onto your social media channels. If not, you can create an ad from scratch. But on this example, we're going to use a post ID. And I also normally wanted to, or we normally add the post ID directly on the ad name. Select your desired Facebook page or profile and Instagram, and go to your ad setup. Use existing post. If you can't find your post or you haven't researched regarding your page post that you wanted to use, you can just simply click on select post, and that will pull up all the information or posts you actually did on your Facebook page. You can sort it by published posts. It's going to be shown here how many comments, likes, shares each post or content you have on your Facebook page. Or you can just paste the, let's see, I selected a different page. Or you can just simply add the post ID on whatever content you are going to use. So this video view campaigns that we're going to create is going to be under Metabolismo TV. So we can push for more content. Pixel is turned on and everything else good. Add creative, identity, ad name. I'm just going to make sure everything is set up. So our ad set level is good. We are also using CBO for ABO for this instance, so we are good. And I'm going to $20 budget, publish our first ad set. Now, for whenever I run ABO campaigns, especially with video views or depending on your budget, you can have up to 3, or what we recommend is up to 3 ads per ad set or per audience. So it's going to be different content every time a user can or will see them. Let's see. So right now we have 1 ad set, 1 ad. Simply just duplicate the ad for you then to replace or add a different video. So again, change your ad name. just change the post ID. And you are good to go. You can again go ahead and publish. Now, since it's an ABO campaign, and we're going to test a few different audiences, we can also go ahead and simply just duplicate the ad set. So we can add more ad sets, test more audiences or audience variations. Earlier we have 30 to 40. We're going to now push for 41 to 50, still women. Still the same country location. The only thing we're going to change is the audience. This is good for testing audiences, for you to be able to determine which age brackets first is or will be interested for your brand or services after. So the same, or I'll have the ads under this ad set remain as is. Since I'm already using post IDs, I no longer have to edit each of those ad sets to match the post ID. So I can just go ahead and afterwards publish. Quick note, always if you're going to push for an ABO campaign, always ensure that you have a naming convention in place. That way, by looking at the ad set name, you'll easily be able to determine or see what the audiences are for that ad set. Example, this ad set has been running for 48 hours. You're now checking the results or the data for each of those ad sets. And you wanted to know who or what you're targeting for the winning ad set. You no longer have to click on editing the campaign, going through the audiences section to list out and see which ones are your winners. You can immediately see them by just the ad set name, campaign name, or ad name. Since the naming convention has C4 code, this section is your interest or audience. It can, if you are using warm audiences, then this can be your warm audiences name. If not, this can be your cold audiences name or interests. So this is for health and wellness, narrowed down by weight loss. Age is 41 to 50. Gender is women. And all of them are in the US. So if you are going to add more audiences, test more different audience brackets, just continuously duplicating the ad sets one at a time, or you can have multiple copies of the same ad set duplicated all at the same time, and then you can just edit it one by one to change the age brackets afterwards or change the audiences. That's how you can easily set up your ABO campaign.